This week marks the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Bob, the most recent hurricane to make landfall in New England. Bob formed near the Bahamas on August 16, 1991, and quickly moved up the east coast towards New England. On the 19th, the storm made landfall in Newport, Rhode Island as a Category 2 storm. As is often the case with hurricanes, the storm surge and damaging winds were most prolific on the east side of the storm. The 10 to 15-foot storm surge generated by Bob funneled straight into Buzzards Bay and devastated towns from New Bedford to Wareham and Bourne. Dozens of seaside homes were destroyed and boats were tossed ashore like toys. On the Cape, residents and tourists alike packed shelters and highways as Bob hit. Sustained winds of 100 miles per hour were reported in Truro, with gusts to 125 miles per hour both there and in nearby Brewster. Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket were battered by relentless surf in addition to the winds. Many south-facing beaches shrunk by 50 feet due to the erosion. Along and just west of Bob's track, rain was a major hazard. 3 to 6 inches fell across much of greater Boston as Bob tracked right through the South Shore, near Hingham in fact. Robert Skilling, observer in charge at the Blue Hill Observatory and longtime Hingham weather observer, reported a low pressure of 28.69 inches at his home in North Hingham as Bob passed by. However, Skilling says that Bob was far from impressive here on the South Shore.
A wimpy storm here with just rain and northeast winds up to 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. Actually 78 miles an hour at Blue Hill. It was typical of a strong nor'easter, Bob. In this part of Massachusetts on Cape Cod, it was a full-blown hurricane with hurricane-force winds.
Bob caused $1 million worth of damage in southern New England, and the name was eventually retired, never to be used as a hurricane name again. While Bob may have been bad, hurricanes have hit our region much harder in the past. The first hurricane on record to hit southern New England was in 1635, just as colonists were establishing themselves. Several hurricanes hit in the 19th century as well, but it's not until 1938 that a well-documented major hurricane hit our coast. The Long Island Express, as that storm came to be known, slammed into Long Island, lashing much of Massachusetts with powerful winds. Blue Hill calculates that winds hit speeds of 186 miles per hour atop the observatory in Milton with that storm that killed hundreds and flooded downtown Providence. The storm was likely a Category 3 when it made landfall. Then, in September 1944, the Great Atlantic Hurricane roared into New England, leading to severe damage across southeastern Massachusetts. On the Cape and Islands, the flooding and damage was worse than the 1938 storm. It, too, was likely a Category 3.
The first memories of a hurricane I have is the Great Atlantic Hurricane in 1944, which the center actually came right over here. My father had got me up at 3 a.m. in the morning to look out the window, and the roar of the trees was something I'll never forget. It was just like freight trains going by. The wind was blowing so hard. I think we probably were up around 80 miles an hour in that one.
In 1954, 2 Category 3 storms raked New England in a matter of 2 weeks, an unprecedented weather occurrence. Carol produced damage in Buzzards Bay that rivaled 1938, while Edna produced a wind gust in Chilmark on Martha's Vineyard to 125 miles per hour.
Carol was the worst, actually. Had a southeast wind which gusted to 100 at Boston, and I'm not sure what the Edna gusted. And it was 2 weeks apart. I thought it was pretty amazing that we had 2 hurricanes within 2 weeks.
Then, in 1960, Category 2 Hurricane Donna struck the region. Winds atop Blue Hill reached 140 miles per hour, and when Donna hit, Bob Skilling was just starting as a weather observer in Hingham.
On the 12th of September, Hurricane Donna hit, and we had winds gusting 75, 80 miles an hour here. And the door of the shelter, well, it only had this 4 days, the door which closes like this, it opened up in those gusts. And that's the only time since then that it's ever opened up in the wind. Hurricane Donna was strong. The trees were breaking over here, and my shelter door opened. Boy, that was some storm.
Between Donna and Bob, only one other hurricane made landfall in New England. That was Category 2 Gloria in 1985. Looking back at our hurricane history should prove that New England is very susceptible to major hurricanes. New England hurricanes typically form in one of 3 locations, near the Bahamas, the Windward Islands, or near the Cape Verde Islands. As the storms near New England, they often accelerate, sometimes traveling as fast as 50 miles per hour at these higher latitudes. Based on data collected by the government and analyzed by the Blue Hill Weather Observatory, it seems that hurricanes hit New England every 10 years or so, with major hurricane strikes in southern New England approximately every 60 years. That is strictly a rough estimate, though, from the limited hurricane data we have. However, using that model, New England would be due for another major hurricane, Category 3 or higher, within the next few years.
It's going to happen eventually here. I'm not sure whether it's 5 years away this year or 10 years, but I would say within 10 years we may get hit with a full-blown hurricane here. It's going to be something for the people that haven't seen Donna or 54, Harold and Edna. It's going to be something they won't believe, the destruction to trees and power lines.
And while the New England coastline has largely been spared from any hurricane activity over the last 20 years, we're due. We've seen strong and major hurricanes in the past, and no doubt they will once again roar towards New England. It's not a question of if, but a matter of when. Reporting along the waterfront in Hingham for HinghamWeather.com, I'm Michael Page.